How fast can you get your money after a car wreck? Call all nines now. George Sink Injury Lawyers has the experience to help you get your money faster. That's 999-9999. Celebrating 30 years with Richard Rogers. Happy 30th anniversary, Richard. Live from Augusta, you're watching News 12 live at 5.
Well, after some chilly overnight temps, we're set to warm up a bit this week. We'll have the full forecast for you in just a few minutes. But first, we're just 13 hours or so from polls opening for Election Day. All eyes are on whether Richmond County voters will approve a temporary sales tax to pay for new James Brown Arena. C-SPLOS would be a half-penny sales tax. That's an extra 50 cents for every $100 spent in the county. Our Craig Allison is live at the James Brown Arena. And Craig, walk us through what could happen depending on what voters decide tomorrow.
Well, as you said, we're just off 7th Street here at the James Brown Arena. The rally in support of the vote is kicking off right now. About 3 commissioners, Representative Max Burns and more, have showed up. But again, the future of this space all relies on tomorrow's vote. Now, it was just 2 years ago that Richmond County voters turned down paying for a new James Brown Arena. Since then, it's been a process for proponents to get this on the ballot again. In April, Governor Kemp came down to the Garden City to sign a bill to put this on the ballot as a half-penny sales tax. And with the estimated cost of this arena going up by the year, the Coliseum Authority says this is probably their last method to get a new arena funded and made. If not, we keep the current space and no new taxes. People against a new arena say they don't want the tax and don't trust the government to handle it properly. People in favor of a new JBA say we just can't get acts bigger than Carrie Underwood and the Dave Matthews Band, and have already passed on Augusta with weight restrictions here at the current building. And all new on News 12 at 6 o'clock, we're going to go into more depth, hearing from both sides on this vote so that you are the most informed heading into the polls tomorrow. From downtown Augusta, Craig Allison on your side.
All right, thanks, Craig. That's the focus for every voter in Richmond County. But of course, there's more here. There are 12 races for mayor across our area, including Grovetown, Barnwell, and Waynesboro. There are more than 30 town and city council positions up for grabs. Polls open tomorrow morning at 7 and they close at 7 p.m. We'll have the results of those elections tomorrow night right here on air and online at WRDW.com. Well, to weather now. You're taking a live look outside. High in the sky there. A gorgeous afternoon for us as we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale. And Riley, it's warmed up a little bit for us today.
Absolutely. Well, after seeing pretty chilly temperatures all last week, we actually are getting back above average to start off this week, and it's only going to get warmer over the next couple of afternoons. For your election day tomorrow, we should actually be in the low 80s, and we're going to continue the 80s Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's not until this weekend coming up that we do see our temperatures cool back down, but it looks like we are going to be on a little bit of a hot streak here for November. Current temps, if you're stepping out soon, we got 71 in Augusta, 75 in Aiken, still 76 in Evans, 74 in Thompson. We are going to see some cool temps again tonight, but since we've seen a good bit of sunshine, that is going to keep our urban environment a good bit warmer. So I would imagine places around Daniel Field, you'll see your low temps stay close to 50, but for those chilly spots away from the city like Bushfield, they could get as low as the low 40s, so definitely going to need that jacket the first part of the day. But if you're heading out the rest of this evening, temps should stay in the 50s once we get an hour past sunset, which is just after 5:30 later this evening. Remember that with the time change. So I would grab the jacket. A little bit cool out there, but not excessively cold. Great weather to head out to the Columbia County Fair. Have a look at the rest of the forecast for you in just a bit, but let's get a quick update on your First Alert traffic.
And now, First Alert traffic.
Here's a live look outside at I-20 and Riverwatch Parkway, and you can see traffic actually okay right now on the interstate. It's Riverwatch that looks to be a little bit busy, but that traffic is moving okay at the moment. Going out to Wheeler Road next, this will actually look at I-20 between Wheeler Road and the Bel Air exits. Westbound, eastbound lanes moving smoothly out there. That sun is very low into the sky, so westbound drivers, be safe with that sun for you. We'll have a look at some rain possibly heading our way late in the week in just about 10 minutes.
All right, thanks, Riley. Starting today, more than 80 candidates hoping to become judges in South Carolina will face pressure and questions about how they'd serve on the bench. That includes the man hoping to become the state's top judge. Our State House reporter Mary Green has the details.
Next spring, the entire General Assembly will elect dozens of the state's judges. But before then, candidates go through a screening process that's described as arduous and expansive to narrow down the field and determine who's qualified. That vetting culminates over the next 2 weeks as candidates appear before this panel known as the Judicial Merit Selection Commission, or JMSC.
We are at the end of what is a long process.
Kicking off that process Monday was the man who will, in all likelihood, be the next Chief Justice of the South Carolina Supreme Court, current Justice John Kittredge. He's the only candidate for the job, opening up when current Chief Justice Donald Beatty retires next year.
I have served on every major court in South Carolina. I'm the only person ever to have done so. So I do believe I have a good sense of what happens on the front lines because I've been there and I've experienced it.
Kittredge took questions about how he'd handle challenges the state's judicial branch faces, responded to concerns that he's too conservative, and outlined his judicial philosophy, which he described as one of restraint.
Judges adjudicate. Judges do not legislate.
This year's judicial screenings come as calls are growing for South Carolina to change the way it selects judges, with the governor, attorney general, solicitors, and some lawmakers among those urging reform. Kittredge, who served as a judge in the state for more than 3 decades, called this vetting process arduous.
There are very few complaints against judges in South Carolina. And why is that? I hearken back to my original comments to you. It's the vetting that goes on here.
But he also said South Carolina's judicial branch needs more transparency and accountability across the board.
We can have a wonderful system, but if the public doesn't believe it's fair, it's not. Perception is a reality.
And a new House of Representatives committee has been tasked with taking a closer look at judicial reform and issuing recommendations for the legislature. That committee will meet for the first time on Tuesday. At the same time, the JMSC is screening more judicial candidates. Reporting from the State House, I'm Mary Green.
As opposed to most meetings and hearings at the State House, these judicial screening panels are not live streamed online. The committee's chair says that's because these are essentially job interviews and they don't want to give candidates an advantage by being able to watch the questioning of the candidates before them going for that same job. But for the first time, these hearings will be recorded and released once all screenings are done. Well, more than 60 people were arraigned in Atlanta today on organized crime charges in connection to alleged efforts to stop the construction of a new public safety training center. Now, this morning, supporters of the defendants rallied with signs calling for Georgia Attorney General, Chris Carr, to drop the charges. All of the defendants were charged back in September with violating the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, also known as the RICO Act. Now, many of them are also facing charges of domestic terrorism and money laundering. Out of the 61 defendants, only 13 are from Georgia. Preparations for the new $67 million training facility are underway despite those protests. A Myrtle Beach man known for his appearance in Netflix's Tiger King has pled guilty in his federal case. Doc Antle was accused of wildlife trafficking and money laundering. The 63-year-old is the owner of an animal rescue safari. He now admits he was involved in the sale of several endangered animals, including lions and cheetahs, totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars. For each count, Antle faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison and a fine of up to $250,000. He'll be sentenced at a later time. The South Carolina Supreme Court says the state will not conduct any executions at least until February. That's so that a high court can hear a lawsuit by 4 death row inmates who argue that dying by electrocution or the firing squad is cruel and unusual punishment. The Palmetto State has not carried out an execution since 2011 when the supply of lethal injection drugs expired. Now, the state passed a shield law earlier this year that hides the identities of companies that supply the drugs for executions. There are 34 inmates on South Carolina's death row. A Georgia appeals court says Delta-8 THC is not a controlled substance. This comes more than a year after a raid on a vape distribution center in Norcross. Officers seized hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of products in the raid. Late last week, the appeals court ruled that the raid did not have probable cause because Delta-8 and Delta-10 THC are protected under the 2018 Georgia Hemp Farming Act.
Nothing's wrong with these products. Delta-8 is totally legal. We need to move forward with the times, bring on regulation, and anything else that needs to be done just to quit these petty raids.
The Gwinnett County District Attorney's Office could escalate this to the state Supreme Court, but has not said if they will. Well, millions of Americans live with a brain condition that can cause seizures, but do you know the signs? Just ahead, health experts show you some of the lesser-known symptoms to look out for. Riley?
Well, we were cool most of last week, but this week we are going to flip the script. We actually are going to be within a couple degrees of record highs over the next couple of afternoons. We'll have that full forecast next.
This is someone's entire livelihood right here, now burnt to a crisp. Coming up all new tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, how one community is coming together for one of their own and rising from the ashes.
Time and temp.
This holiday season.
Welcome back. We are hitting the golden hour, just a few minutes away from sunset now, looking over the Savannah River and our Thurman Dam cam. Just a beautiful afternoon to be outside. A little bit warmer today. That's going to be our trend over the next couple of days. We're still in the low 70s here at Bushfield, and we are hanging on to a light wind out of the south mainly over the next few days. So that's going to draw in a little bit warmer air for us, and potentially could be close to records over the next couple of days. If you are heading out this evening, temps will stay in the 60s and 50s once we get past sunset here over the next 30-45 minutes. So it is going to be a little bit cool, but not necessarily too chilly out there for us. Pretty mild for November standards. Heading out to the bus stop tomorrow morning, a cool start. We should be in the 40s out there right around daybreak, but afternoon highs tomorrow hitting the low 80s, or our record high temps for this time of year. 86 degrees tomorrow, so not going to be too far away from that number. I don't think we'll quite get hot enough to break these records through the rest of the week, but we will be within about 5 degrees of them. So pretty impressive here for November to see these highs in the 80s, and they likely will stick around at least through Friday afternoon. We have high pressure on top of us, so this is going to keep our skies generally sunny and mostly clear at least through Wednesday. But as we do see a series of fronts start to move across the country, that is going to bring us a little bit more cloud cover Thursday, and then the chance for rain as we head into late Friday and even early Saturday. So right now, it doesn't look like rain chances Friday would necessarily last all day long for us, and mainly anticipating these to show up kind of late Friday night when a lot of us are already head to bed. But those showers will continue even into early Saturday, and then potentially maybe even Sunday. Can't rule out a few raindrops out there. So our weekend forecast doesn't look quite as good as what we just saw this past weekend. High temps will definitely feel cooler in the 60s Saturday and Sunday, but each day we'll have that opportunity maybe just for some light showers and pretty gray conditions as well. Taking a look at our two global models here. So this is a look at our rain chances Friday night, Saturday morning into Sunday. Rain totals don't look very impressive, and they actually agree with one another for once. So what we take away from this is that we are expecting a chance for rain late into the week. Doesn't look like it's going to be necessarily heavy rain, but we are going to be in just kind of that wedge setup that will just bring us cloud cover, maybe some drizzle, some light showers at times, but hopefully nothing that really ruins everything we're trying to get done outside. But you can really see that drastic temperature drop late into the week. So we are going to see these highs 80s all the way through Friday. And then once that cold front pushes through Friday night, we'll see that much cooler outlook heading into the weekend. Day planner over the next couple of days, not too bad. Just hanging on to some cool mornings in the 40s, but afternoon highs very comfortable, upper 70s to near 80 tomorrow. And then everybody should be hitting at least the 80s out there on Wednesday. And you can see not much cloud cover out there. Should stay generally sunny the next few days. So great weather tomorrow to get outside and vote for Election Day. As we head later into the week, we'll see a few more clouds by Thursday, and then once again, the chance for rain will be with us this weekend.
All right, thanks, Riley. It's National Epilepsy Awareness Month, and the CDC says around 3.4 million Americans live with the brain condition. While most people recognize convulsions as a sign of a seizure, health experts say most people don't know all the symptoms. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither looks at some of the subtle signs someone's having a seizure and what to do if it happens.
It's one of the most common neurological diseases. Epilepsy causes seizures, and the most well-known sign is convulsions.
Where patients become stiff, they shake all over, they can bite their tongue, they can pee on themselves or defecate on themselves.
Neurologist Dipali Namade with Orlando Health says there are also lesser-known subtle signs of which to be aware. A person could be having a seizure if they're staring into space, making a lip-smacking movement, or a gesture like they're picking at their clothes. Unnatural laughter can also be a potential sign, as well as numbness or tingling, blinking rapidly, and crying out or screaming.
The seizure symptoms or the signs depends on which part of the brain your seizures are originating on. So they could vary from person to person.
If someone is experiencing a seizure, Namade says to gently lay the patient on their side in a safe place, away from sharp or heavy objects that could hurt them, and loosen clothing around the neck like a tie or scarf.
Do not put anything inside their mouth, especially spoon or your fingers. Patients are never going to swallow their tongue. It is physically impossible to swallow the tongue.
Since seizures can last seconds or minutes, Namade says to time them and to call 911 if they continue for more than 5 minutes, if the person is hurt or pregnant, or if there's another medical condition happening at the same time, like a heart attack. For Health Minute, I'm Andy Gaither.
The CDC says epilepsy can be caused by different medical conditions that affect a person's brain. Many times the cause is unknown. Well, still ahead, a consumer alert, concerns over oven glass shattering. We hear one mom's story and how she wants the company to make some changes.
First Alert Radar, powered by Jim Hudson Automotive Group.
Race Wednesday on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
We're investigating the dangers that could be in your kitchen. Over the past few years, there have been hundreds of reports of oven glass shattering. It happened to one mom, and now she wants the company that made her oven to make some changes.
This is a danger this family never saw coming. And here's the thing, there's really no way to know there's a problem until it happens. The kitchen is one of Nicole Sanchez's favorite places with her kids. They talk.
And it was a spider.
They laugh, and they used to bake together, but not anymore.
All of a sudden I hear this boom, and I'm like, what on earth is that? I go running into the kitchen, I slide on the glass.
It took her a minute to realize what had actually happened.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, our oven just exploded. Glass flew as far as behind the fridge. It came into here. I mean, it was just like a big boom, an explosion of hot glass.
These are some of the pieces of that shattered oven door.
It's a Frigidaire. We've had it for about 3 years. I called them. They said, oh, it's not in warranty anymore, so there's nothing we can do. It's considered cosmetic. And I'm like, hold on. Cosmetic is like a scratch. Cosmetic is not hot flying glass that explodes in your kitchen.
According to the Consumer Product Safety Commission, the agency has received 450 reports of oven door shattering from 2019 through 2021. And a review of more recent reports on saferproducts.gov reveals a slew of additional complaints, many of them involving Frigidaire models.
You know, we were using the oven in the way it was meant to be used, and the front door exploded.
Frigidaire's parent company, Electrolux, said it takes safety seriously and said all products comply with household cooking standards. According to the company, glass failures are infrequent, but can be caused by imperfections in the glass or damage that happened during use.
It doesn't say anything in any of the manuals online or the one that I have that the glass could actually explode. So I think there definitely needs to be a recall or at least a warning issued to people.
In a statement, the CPSC said while CPSC has not issued recalls or warnings on shattering oven doors in recent years, we do take all incidents involving shattered glass seriously, adding no severe injuries beyond stitches were reported.
Tempered glass is very strong, but when it does fail like this, it can explode in these, into lots of many pieces, and even though it's intended not to cause lacerations, it certainly does.
Sean Kane is the founder of Safety Research and Strategies, which advocates for consumer safety. He says recalls are difficult to initiate.
Especially with something like this, because there's this intermingling of where does the defect originate from? Is it in the design, the manufacturing, or is it something that happened afterward?
Hello, standing this. Nicole can't help but think about the what ifs.
And the scary part about that is my little guy was just looking in the window about 10 minutes before this happened. So it's really scary to think what could have happened if his face would have been in the window when the glass exploded.
Electrolux said though Nicole's oven was out of warranty, the company is offering her a discount on the parts for the replacement glass. The company also gave us some tips to help protect oven door glass. First, don't close the oven door until the racks are in place. Next, don't hit the glass with pots or pans, and avoid scratching the glass. Even scratches during cleaning can weaken the structure. I'm Susan Campbell.
All right, massive 400-acre wildfire in North Carolina is prompting a state of emergency for Henderson County. That's in the upstate just below Asheville. Now, crews are working to contain the fire that started Friday afternoon, and it's only 5% contained so far. At least 2 homes have been destroyed, and they're still not sure what started that. Riley?
Well, we're looking good for Election Day tomorrow. If you're heading to the polls early, temps will be in the 40s and 50s, and then by tomorrow evening, we should be in the 60s. I'm going to look at that 7-day forecast just after the break.
Cracks in your brain.
All right, checking on our fall color tracker, looking at Dahlonega and Greenville, and you can see that we're already at sunset here just before 5:30, but some good fall color up there north of Lake Lanier, and then a beautiful look over the upstate there in Greenville at the ETV camera. We've got a nice sunset, too, from our Thurman Dam cam. This is looking down the Thurman Dam, Clarksville on the right, Savannah River on the left. We have a few high-level clouds starting to filter through here, but those should clear out as we head into later tonight. Temperatures right now in the 70s, so we did get a little bit warmer out there this afternoon. If you're heading out for the rest of this evening, maybe a light jacket, nothing too heavy. We should actually stay in the 40s for low temps tonight. And then for your Election Day Tuesday, we're going to hang on to lots of sunshine and high temperatures, most likely hitting the 80s out there tomorrow. We're going to hang on to the 80s for a few days this week, most likely all the way through Friday. Not much rain in this forecast until we get to later into the weekend. So outdoor plans Saturday, Sunday, may want to have plan B.
All right, thanks, Riley. Stick with us. We have more news, weather, and sports coming up after a short break as News 12 Live at 5 continues.